Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something truly spectacular that caught our eye over on the Silverzz channel. We're looking at a beautifully crafted, pure silver antique train. And let me tell you, this isn't just some nice little paperweight. It's a literal statement piece packed with serious intrinsic value. We're going to break down exactly what makes this locomotive such a standout collectible. But hey, before we get into the nitty-gritty specs of this silver locomotive, let's ask ourselves a really fundamental question. What actually makes a gift last a lifetime? You know the feeling, right? We've all gotten those presents that are super exciting for like 5 minutes, but eventually they just kind of fade into the background. They wear out, or they end up shoved in the back of a junk drawer. So what actually transforms a simple object into a permanent, cherished heirloom? Well, today we're looking at a collectible that hits the nail on the head, perfectly blending real raw material value with incredibly intricate, timeless design. All right, let's roll right into Section 1, the pure silver standard. So, the absolute foundation of this piece is its raw material, and that all comes down to the number 999. Now, if you dabble in precious metals at all, you know exactly what that means: pure silver. We are not talking about something that's just silver-plated, and it's definitely not some cheap alloy mixed with lesser metals. No way. It is 999 pure. That's literally the highest standard of commercial silver purity you can get your hands on. It gives this train a real, tangible weight and value that goes way beyond just looking pretty. It's quite literally an investment in pure material. And you don't just have to take their word for it, because that purity is backed up in the real world by a hallmark. Now, a hallmark, in case you aren't familiar, is an official mark struck right onto items made of precious metals. Its whole job is to guarantee authenticity and verify that purity. So as a collector, you can rest completely easy. That 999 status, it isn't just some flashy marketing claim slapped on a box. It is officially certified, locking in its genuine value for the long haul. Moving right along to Section 2, crafting vintage charm. Now, obviously, raw silver is basically just a shiny block of metal until a skilled artisan actually gets a hold of it, right? The source describes this piece as a beautifully crafted antique train that adds a touch of vintage charm to any space. And they are totally right. A locomotive just inherently carries this amazing sense of nostalgia. It's like a romantic callback to the industrial age, a time of massive exploration and innovation. When you bring that specific vintage charm into a modern room, it instantly creates this stunning focal point that's elegant, sure, but also steeped in history. So where exactly does this incredible craftsmanship come from? Well, the piece proudly wears its origin story right out in the open. Made in India. Now, India has this incredibly profound, centuries-old legacy when it comes to silversmithing, metalwork, and just mind-blowing intricate detailing. Pointing out this origin is absolutely crucial because it emphasizes that this pure silver creation isn't just, rolled off some generic soulless assembly line. It is proudly part of a rich global tradition of handcrafted artistry. Okay, let's jump into Section 3, the ultimate collectible gift. Beyond just the raw material and the artistry, this silver locomotive works beautifully as a top-tier presentation item. And a huge plus, it is totally gift-ready. Literally right out of the box, it's primed to be handed over to a loved one or maybe a highly respected colleague. It perfectly targets two very distinct groups: the silver enthusiasts who are totally going to geek out over that 999 purity, and home decor lovers who will just be captivated by the vintage charm. It brilliantly bridges the gap between a smart financial asset and a gorgeous room accessory. So, when exactly do you drop a gift of this caliber? The source material lays out the perfect occasions: housewarmings, corporate gifting, birthdays, and festive celebrations. Okay, let's actually think about this critically for a second. A housewarming. You're literally bringing a timeless piece of decor into a brand new home, instantly giving their space character. Corporate gifting? That's a big one. It speaks volumes about high value and deep respect, but without crossing that weird line into being overly personal. And of course, birthdays and festive celebrations just become instantly more memorable when a pure silver, beautifully crafted collectible is the star of the show. The versatility here is honestly super impressive. It just fits seamlessly into almost any major life milestone. And that brings us to Section 4, a lasting conversation starter. Let's look at the ultimate legacy of an item like this. Think about standard gifts for a second. They usually have a pretty fleeting appeal, right? You enjoy them for a quick moment, and then they're just stored away or used up. But the source promises this silver antique train is a unique conversation starter that lasts a lifetime. And it makes total sense, because it sits proudly on a shelf or a desk with that completely unmistakable gleam of precious metal. It inevitably draws the eye.
Like, people are going to walk in, point to it, and ask about it. It just naturally sparks dialogue, becoming this permanent, interactive fixture in the recipient space.
Which brings us to our final thought for today. Where would you place a conversation starter that lasts a lifetime? I actually want you to envision this for a second. Picture this 999 pure silver, hallmarked antique train elevating your own living room, enhancing a bookshelf, or maybe adding some serious prestige to your corporate office desk. Look, when an item successfully combines uncompromised material purity, certified authenticity, and just beautiful vintage charm, it absolutely demands to be seen. Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I'll leave you to ponder exactly where this stunning locomotive would fit best in your world.